Welcome to the EmpowerHer Wellness Podcast. I'm Morgan, and I'm thrilled to be your host and wellness coach as we navigate the path to a healthier, more confident you. As the owner of Get Fit With Me, I bring years of experience in personal training, nutrition, and coaching to each episode. Join me as we explore practical tips and strategies for fitness, nutrition, mindset, and more, all tailored for busy women just like you. Let's empower your wellness journey and achieve lasting transformation together. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of the EmpowerHer Wellness Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Morgan Ekovich, and we've only had two other return guests up until now. We had Kelly Meyerson come on and talk about sleep, and we had one of my really good friends, Danielle, come on, and we talked about all things health and fitness. And today we have a third return guest, the third one we've had. And honestly, we're in episode 90s. That's crazy that this is only the third guest I've had return. But Mikayla and I had such a fun conversation probably about 2 months ago now on the keto diet. And I wanted to have Dr. Makayla Andersen back on with us because in that episode, if you listened, we alluded to how we had coffee and we really just went down a rabbit hole of our backgrounds, things we like to talk about. We just spiraled and we thought it'd be fun to do a podcast episode on that. So welcome back.
Thank you so much. I totally agree. It was so fun talking that day. We even joked that we should have just recorded it right then and there, even though it was like our first time talking
Yes.
together. It was so good.
I love it because I think honestly, we've still only either met each other on Zoom or seen each other in person like a total of 5
I
times,
know.
and 2 of which you've been on a podcast. So I just,
It's pretty good.
I love it. So I kind of wanted to start today because I think this is something that we don't get a chance to talk about very often. I want us both to kind of go back and forth, but I want to know, how did you get into the work that you do now? There's probably some backstory. There was probably some pivotal moment that, how did you get into doing what you're doing?
Hmm. I have two different directions I could go with this question. I was raised a little bit holistically. We grew a lot of our own food, and my mom resorted to allowing our bodies to heal naturally instead of rushing off to get like a medication or go to the doctor, which was really great. And I think that that was maybe the foundation of how I ended up here. But I was really inspired by actually a local business as well that I worked for almost a year. And it's a local chiropractic office. And I worked for them prior to going to ND school, and their practices and their morals and values at the office were really grounded in, they call them the F's. So it's like faith, family, function, fitness, a few other things. And every week we would meet and talk about those things at home and in our personal lives, but also how we can bring those to the office and how we can bring those into patient care. And I really resonated with that because I wanted to be a provider that brought that into my patients' lives too. And they kind of introduced me to natural medicine from a broader viewpoint. They worked with posture and function with chiropractic, but they also did some nutrition counseling too, and things like red light laser therapy. And so it really kind of opened my eyes to a little bit more of like natural treatments. And then I started looking into naturopathic medicine too. And during my training, I got a lot of chiropractic hands-on modality training too. So I know how to adjust as well, but I emphasize more of the botanical medicine, natural medicine, nutrition in my practice. But they were a huge part of, I think, what landed me here too.
I love
Yeah.
that. I did not know that. How'd you get hooked up with them originally? Did you apply for a job there or did you know somebody and you just got to, and it just ended up working out that
Yeah,
way?
I applied for a job, and I laugh at this story too because this, I think, was part of the fate of me going to school and actually getting to know them and everything else. But I actually got laryngitis, so I could hardly talk. And then they called me for an interview, and I was answering the phone. They used to laugh about this. I answered the phone in a whisper. I was like, "Hello." And so they invited me in for an interview. And when I arrived, it was a group interview. And that was really intimidating to me. I'm pretty introverted normally. Arriving for a group interview with a bunch of people I already didn't know was very intimidating. And I sat in the car prior to going in and I was like, I could just drive away right now. I don't have to. Nobody's holding me to this interview. I don't really need this job. I can look elsewhere. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in. Why am I going to be a baby about this? Just go in. And long story short, I got the job and I'm like so glad that I went in and so glad that I got the job because those people became so foundational to me going and pursuing naturopathic medicine that I feel like it just all happened for a reason.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I think that's a good reminder that like to do hard things, it feels so uncomfortable. Like to apply to a new job and walk in, or to go to a gym for the first time, or to speak up and advocate for yourself
Hmm.
at the doctor's.
Hmm.
Like to do hard things is uncomfortable. And you have two choices. You either lean into the uncomfortability and roll the dice, or you drive
Yeah.
off. And I love that that was like a pivotal point in that was a pivotal point in like you getting to where you are now, which then I imagine the next step was like, great, I've graduated. Now let me jump off the cliff and start my own
Uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah. That even before graduation, I was like, okay, I kind of need to have a plan. I need to set something up. I need to either apply for jobs or look for jobs or start my own practice and kind of figure out how to be a business owner and all of those things I didn't learn during school. So that was, as you can imagine, being a business owner too, it's like a big learning curve. There's so many things nobody really teaches you that you learn as you go.
There's so many things. Like when I started, so I started back at the YMCA and I worked with Joy Burwald, who was the fitness director at the West Side. And I actually got in there because one of my best friend's aunts worked the front desk. So they knew they were looking for an intern for the summer. And that would have been summer of 2015. That was like my first fitness like job. I did everything from like jump starts to teach classes, to teach water aerobics. I am so not, I am a float in the tube with a cocktail in hand water
Girl,
person.
same.
Like you want me to like do exercise in the water? No, no, no. That's like swimming from the boat to the island to get a new drink. That is the amount of water exercise that is my
Yeah.
preference. But I did that and that was so much fun and I loved it because I got to work with such a variety
Mm,
of
mm-hmm.
people. And it's hard because I think when you go into business, they're like, okay, choose a niche, choose a niche. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I do love working with
Hmm.
everybody and it's hard. But on the marketing side, you have to be specific. And if I really looked at it, I enjoyed working with the women a little bit more than the men because I felt like there was a better connection there. Not that I can't connect with men. I've had a lot of male clients,
And
there we go, that that like I've connected really well with. They've either been husbands of the
mm,
wives I've worked with, or they've just been people that like I have a few male clients right now, but it's one of those where I feel like I can just connect a little bit more and we can relate a little bit on the
mm-hmm.
mindset side, on the body image side, and some of these deeper
Mm-hmm.
conversations that the way social media and all the trends and aesthetics are looking
Mm-hmm.
right now, like we can relate a little bit
Mm-hmm.
better than than I can to
Yep.
males. But like so from there, I then did an internship. I worked at the university club. Then I went off on my own and then hey, let me go into business by sending an email saying, "Hey, I've been laid off. Anybody who wants to continue to train, will figure out how to make it work." And then realize like, "Cool. What do I need to do any of
Mm-hmm.
this?" Like I totally was in reaction mode. Mike even was like, can you take a breath? Are you going to take a breath before you push send? I said, nope, I sent.
Sometimes,
And it was just like
sometimes that's what it takes.
one of those,
Yeah.
like, you just had to jump.
Mm-hmm.
And then for about a year, I did online and in person when the gyms
Okay.
reopened. And I realized after about a year, I loved them both, but I really liked being able to create what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted in whatever framework I wanted to. And I didn't have to ask permission,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't realize I wanted that until you get the chance to test
Yeah.
it out.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. I think there's so much to be said about that. It's scary to become an entrepreneur, and it's scary to have maybe an unpredictable income. or not know how to market to your target audience, like you mentioned, or how to get people to trust you enough to invest in your services. And all of that is what went through my mind too when I was starting a business. And even after I'd opened, sometimes it still does go through my mind. Where do I go from here? How do I continue this trend? How do I, if I ever want to shift gears and focus on something else, how do I initiate that? And it's fun to have the flexibility, but it's also scary because you're in charge of your success. You're in charge of the growth of your company, your business, which is, it's fun, but it's also a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I love the posts that I see that are like, I became an entrepreneur to not just work 40 hours a week, but 140 hours a
Yep.
week. And I'm like, that is so true. And in the beginning, that was totally the
Hmm.
case. And I will say there's weeks where I work less, there's weeks where I work more, but like the flexibility, and one of the hardest parts was learning the boundaries. And for me, what was helpful with that was I found my coach, which is our client coach platform where we only message inside there. So it's not coming into all of my messages. That is our main form of communication outside of our scheduled check ins. And that was really helpful. And also having a business phone. Like, I didn't realize how important creating those boundaries were, because when you were starting out, and I think always, if you are in a service mindset, you always want to help, you always want to provide, but like, at what expense? It's 10 o'clock on a Saturday, and you all of a sudden get a text, and you're like, oh, I'll just respond to this. Like, no, nothing. Like, we're not the 911 call
Mm.
line. We don't have to respond that fast. But like, having some of those systems in place to really help me with those boundaries, because I love what I do. I could literally do what I do every single hour of every day, but I know that would not be healthy for me long
Yeah.
term.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm somebody I want to get all my emails answered in 24 hours. I want to be like really efficient at responding to people. I want to set myself apart that way. Like when you message your, maybe your doctor's office, you're like, oh, maybe you won't hear back for a week or so. I don't know. But I don't want to be like that. I want to answer quickly and show them that I am available and that I care. But you're right. You're totally right. On the flip side, it's okay, I need to also have boundaries. I can't be on and available 24/7, 7 days of the week. How can I show up for my patients, my clients without overstretching or overreaching myself and then burning out as a result?
So, kind of on this, what do you do for your balance of health and wellness? Yes, so we're out there, we're helping people all the time. But then what do you do to kind of create that structure, whether it's workouts, whether it's meditation, nutrition, sleep? Like, what does your taking care of yourself look like on a regular, realistic basis? Because I think we've got times where we dial it in and it looks a
Mhm.
lot better than other times when we're like, yeah, this is the bare minimum. So, what would you say like that normal looks like for you?
Mm. I have a really good friend from school who called these things the pillars of health. And I would say my pillars are exercise, food, and sleep on a daily basis, like emphasis on those things. They ebb and flow, and other things will ebb and flow too, like my supplement routine, my social routine, talking to friends and family, my ability to get outside or be active outdoors, enjoy the time outside. Those things ebb and flow on a daily basis, but the three things, my pillars, are being able to exercise every day or an active rest day, something like that. Making sure that I'm eating and fueling my body appropriately and diversely, and making sure that my sleep is efficient, because if I'm not sleeping well, the other things aren't happening. I don't feel motivated to eat well. I don't feel motivated to move. My sleep was very poor for a long time. In college, I worked night shift.
Mm.
Um, so I was working nights and sleeping during the day and going to daytime classes. And college, you're also having fun and socializing. So my sleep was affected big time back then. I mean, we could probably handle it a little bit better back then than I could nowadays.
I
But
The fact that I could run on 4 hours of sleep and like still be ready to go and then ready to do it again the next day, I'm like,
mm-mm.
now? No, I'm real
Yeah.
cranky. I'm not fun to be around, and I wanna snack everything.
Yes, exactly my point. You would not catch me doing that now. But yeah, my sleep, I need to have a specific wind down routine. I wake up pretty naturally in the morning, early, and then I slowly allow myself to get up instead of getting up and running to the next thing. So I think emphasis on my sleep over the years has really helped me be able to prioritize the other things that I want in the daytime for my health. A lot of people don't really realize how important sleep is for that. So,
Yeah.
what about you?
I would say the same specifically for the sleep. So my Aura Ring I got probably it's been about 2 years now, and I love it. And it's funny because I was talking to my sister. She's like, "Why do I need an Aura Ring? If I know when I slept like crap, why do I need a device to tell me I slept like crap?" I'm like, "Very true statement. But what I want you to look at is not that you slept like crap or that that score was low, but like how much of all of the stages of sleep are you getting? What is your regular wind down time? What like I love that I get a notification on my phone. I know when I need to be heading to bed, but I like that extra notification of like, "Hey, it's time to start winding down." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we're out and about, so I know I'm not going to hit that." Or I'm at home just mindlessly watching TV. I'm like, "Yeah, why am I doing this? I should go to bed."
Hmm.
So, sleep is a big one. I think my sleep score last night was like a 92, and it was
Amazing.
deep. It was wonderful. Like I strive to have like a 90 plus, like 85 plus, I should say,
Hmm.
sleep score every night is my goal.
Awesome.
So sleep, huge. Water is my other big one
Mm-hmm.
because even if we do a ton of traveling. I think we have 2 weekends that we have nothing planned this summer so
Wow.
far. And knowing that, like eating consistently without having to pack my own meals, without having to do that is can be really challenging. And I think a lot of us fall into that boat. But I know I can control my water no matter where I go, no matter who I am with, no matter what food is in front of me. So hydration is like a non-negotiable for me. Currently I've got two different water bottles
Look at you.
because one fits in my cup holder and one doesn't. And so this one sits in the back seat of my car, the big one that doesn't fit in the cup holder, and then I have the 24
Uh-huh.
ouncer that goes in my cup holder when I drive because I always want to make sure I've got
Hmm.
water because those 24 ounces, if you're used to drinking water, those go down so quick and then you're just
Yeah.
SOL. And I'm like, well, this doesn't
Yeah.
work. Then I'm thirsty. Then I have to go buy a $5 water bottle at the gas station and I don't want to do that.
I know. I love that. I think that's maybe one place where you and I differ is I didn't even mention water. I know how important it is.
That's
I
okay.
know how important it is, but I am somebody who forgets to drink water. I have to actively remind myself. I feel like I
Mm.
never feel thirsty. So it's just like, I know it's important for my health overall, but it's just something that I have a hard time emphasizing in my daily routine.
And water's the one control that I have
Hmm.
no matter where I am at. And I think and then I've also learned that when I go to a restaurant, I hate cold
Mm.
water. I hate ice in my water. I will not drink it. I will wait till it melts. That I used to not ask for no ice in my water because I didn't want to be particular. I didn't want
Oh,
to be a
hmm.
hassle. Now I don't
Yeah.
care. Same thing goes like my favorite type of latte when I make a latte at home, and my favorite type of latte in general is a brown sugar
Yeah.
cinnamon. So real brown
Hmm.
sugar, a little bit of cinnamon. And I used to never ask for it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be a hassle. Every coffee shop has brown sugar. And now I just ask for it. And like, I don't care if it's a little bit more, if they upchart,
Hmm.
whatever, because it's not a syrup. But I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm going to ask for what I want and not feel weird
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that me and a couple women that we got talking about of how easy it is to look at someone eating healthy, weighing their
Mm.
food, working out, taking care of themselves, and how unnormal that still is. And that we look at them as if, oh, it's obsessive. Oh, they're not doing it healthy. They're not doing it this. Like all the judgment that is there behind it. But when we swing through and we grab fast food and we eat out every meal and we don't meal prep and we all of that, we look at that as normal and all the
Yeah.
things. So that like it's okay to ask for what you want when you go to a
Hmm.
restaurant. If you're like, okay, I need I need you to do less
Mhm.
oil on this because I'm trying to X, Y, and Z. Like, it's okay to ask for what you
Mhm.
want.
Yeah, and they're providing a service that you're paying for too. And so that's kind of the bare bones of business, right? You're asking for what you want from their service. And if they can't provide it, maybe if they don't have real brown sugar, then that's something they can explain to you. But I think that as a customer or a patient or a client, we should be able to ask for what we're looking for because that's what we're investing our time and our health and our money in. And at the end of the day, that's how we're going to get to where we want to be is asserting ourselves and asking for what we want, asking for help in the ways that we're looking for help. And I think that's really important. And I think that that's also a way of prioritizing yourself and your needs and not just shoving your personal needs to the back burner. And that's a really small but good example is just like asking for what you want, what you really want at a restaurant or at a coffee shop. It's prioritizing yourself.
I love that. I love that relation there because as you were saying, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's like it's hard for us to do when we're in a relationship or when we have kids or when there's so many other things that we know they should come first and we let them choose the place to
Mhm.
eat. When you're like, "Yeah, that sounds good," but like that's not really where you want to. Like chronic people pleasers. I think a lot of us women
Mm,
are people pleasers. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but I think it's also really important that we know what we
mm,
want. And I think over time, we lose sight of what that is that we actually want. So when you have the opportunity to speak up and say, actually, no, I don't want that. Or when a drink comes to you and it's not the way you wanted it, or your food comes back to you and you ordered a chicken sandwich and they bring you a double cheeseburger. Like it's a
mm,
skill. It's like when I started, I had to find my own
mhm.
clients. When I was at the gym, clients were at the gym because they had a membership. So I like that portion, I didn't have to, I wasn't out there and putting in quotations
Mm.
selling because that's essentially what you are doing is you are selling yourself. But when I had to move and do that on my own, it was like, because all I thought of was the cheesy
Yeah.
salesman, the car salesman.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is like, I'm not gonna do it that way.
Yeah.
And then when you start to put yourself out there, I don't know about you, but imposter syndrome of like, "Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified." And all of
Mhm.
that, as soon as you think you're to the other side, something happens and you're like, "Nope, not anymore. Joke's on
Yes,
you."
oh my gosh, girl, was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday. I do not like being a salesperson. I don't like making someone feel pressured. I don't like talking about the money. And I know that that's something common that you kind of have to get over when you're in business, but I'm just not comfortable with that. I wish there was a way to show my value, show my services that's not like oh, but then it costs this much. And I think that's
Right.
what makes people uncomfortable too. And there's so many other ways to show value that are not a price tag, such as valuable conversations with others and taking the time to sit down and really actively listening to them. And I think that those interpersonal skills go a long way in the sales world. And you're not just, yeah, the pushy car salesman. Here's what I can offer you, and here's the price tag, and I don't care what you want. I want to be open to what someone's looking for, make it personalized to them. I want to be able to work with them and give them a customized care, what they're looking for.
Mhm. And I think one of the hardest parts about that is because I make everything customized, it takes more time. And for me, like I have somebody who came to me and they're like, "Morgan, I want this." And it's like the absolute bare minimum. And I'm like, "Yeah, let's," because I had a client, we were working together. We were on like a monthly accountability. We were like in a weekly accountability. We had all the pieces, like the most accountability you could ever ask for. Life happened and she's like, "Morgan, I just do not have the budget. What is the lowest amount of accountability that can be offered? I really don't want to end." And the fact that she was open with me about that situation, one, knew it was true
Mhm,
and I could tell that it was truth and it wasn't just something people
mhm,
say. And I worked with her and we found something for like $25 a month, like something so small that I would never have created if we did not ask, nor did I have this relationship that she felt comfortable. And because I work for myself, I can do
Mhm.
it. But then that also means I have to have a spreadsheet of all these random in betweens, which is, if you're a business person, probably not best business practice. But like, yes, making money is wonderful, but that's not why I do what I
Mhm.
do.
Yep.
Like
It's working with people.
earlier, I spoke at,
Yeah.
yes, I spoke at the Memory Cafe and we had so much fun moving. And it's a group of individuals who have either Alzheimer's, dementia, or are in memory care facilities. And just like, that is why I do what I do, is to make exercise and nutrition and moving your bodies and taking care of yourself fun, easy, and
Mm. Oh,
basic. Like, we are over freaking complicating the wellness
I totally
industry,
agree.
the fitness and
Mhm.
wellness. We are overcomplicating it.
Mhm. I totally agree. I think, oh gosh, I wish there was, I wish we had a whole nother hour to talk about this topic. But I agree.
I got no stop time, so we can roll however.
We'll be here all day. I think just with the trendiness of health and wellness online and the billion-dollar industry that supplements in general are nowadays, it's really taken off and it confuses people. What do I really need to do to take care of myself? Sometimes eating healthy is really overwhelming. Finding the time to work out or exercise when I'm a busy mom and I work and I have to do all of this, that's really overwhelming. What supplements do I need to take for my body? Oh, I see this girl online taking ABC and this girl that I like taking ABC. So I'm going to take those. But are they really what's best for my body? All these little sleep hacks, all these little stress management hacks. If you take everything that you see on the internet and try to do it in a day, you're going to be doing these things for hours and hours and hours. But it's really what is going to benefit you the most? What's going to move the needle the most? And what does your body really need to not, stress your nervous system out by trying to accomplish too much? It's like an all or nothing mentality. I'm I try to inform my patients that it's not all or nothing. We don't have to do everything, but we don't have to do nothing either. And there's certain things you can implement into your daily routine that will make you feel better, and you don't have to do it all at once. And I think that you're right. Like the wellness industry has become so much that it makes people think that they do have to do everything to be healthy. They have to have a red light. They have to have all of these different little gadgets, and at the very foundation of health is just listening to your body and eating whole foods and real foods and moving. And I think that we have to really take a step back and emphasize those things at the bare minimum, because our conventional medical system just it doesn't, simply put.
So, few pieces to this. So, I heard something and I have not researched it, so I don't know the truth behind it. But apparently, the wellness, so like the supplements, the peptides, the GLP-1s, that wellness industry surpassed big pharma in how much money in 2025, which is crazy to me that they brought in more money. And so, first, so multiple parts here. First off, anything you can be doing for yourself is absolutely free. Like, aside from buying food, but you have to buy food anyways to live. So, you have to buy food to be able to live in
Yeah.
general. So, aside from that, exercise is free, sleep is free, drinking water is free, fueling your body is free, getting outside in nature is free, the internet is
Mhm.
free to an extent. There's libraries. Like, there is so much that you can learn without having to spend a
Mhm.
dollar. And I'm from two people who help people, who charge people. It's not, we don't charge because we don't think you can do it or you need to pay
Mhm.
us. It's because there is so much out there and people need accountability, they need direction. We're not selling you the exercise. We're selling you the
Mhm.
accountability and the coaching behind completing the exercise correctly without
Mhm.
injury. Anybody can go and do anything. Like, I started my business without any coaching. And then I started getting business coaching. So I was like, this is probably an important thing. And I'm so happy that I did, because there's so much you don't
Mhm.
know. So that was my first part. My second part is I am not against modern medicine whatsoever. I think everything has its place. But I do think that anytime that I am sick, I go to the doctor. I'm not using them as preventative care. And I've talked to a few people who are like, well, I'm borderline diabetic, but I don't qualify for this until I'm actually diabetic. Why are we not doing preventative care? And I think that is the other thing is like there is good things in each of the categories. So finding the good thing that works for you in each category, and then the thing that doesn't work for you, leave it behind and find the spot that fills that gap. Are those are a few of my 2, 3, 5 senses from where I
Yes, no,
spiraled.
I think I spiral too. I love that point. I agree with you. I There's a time and a place for every medical profession, every medical provider. I completely agree. The modern medicine model here in America does not emphasize preventative medicine. And your example about diabetes is perfect. The fact that pre-diabetes is a diagnosis and then they don't treat it until it's diabetes is really maddening to me. Why are we not doing more at the pre-diabetes stage? Because that can be reversed. They both can be reversed. And why is it a watch and wait diagnosis? These people deserve to know how they can take care of their bodies without waiting for things to get worse. I don't know if I can talk about this. I know personally a functional medicine doctor in the area who used to work in the emergency room, and the reason she ended up switching to functional medicine was because she saw so many preventable metabolic diseases coming into the emergency room, and she thought to herself, this has to stop. There has to be care before they wind up here. I shouldn't have to be seeing so many diabetics or heart attacks, or I want to treat the people that are sick before they arrive at the emergency room or before they need surgery, before they need to be taking all of these medications. And to me, that's so inspirational too. And I just think that if modern medicine moved in that direction, we would see a lot more healthy individuals. We would see a lot more people who feel healthier and who are healthier.
No, I know someone else too, kind of same situation. He was an ER doc and they've just opened their own concierge medical practice here locally for that same reason of like, and it's not bad. We need all these areas. But when we think about it, to help us get, even before we have doctors and medicine and all of that, we have to look back at like literally the foundation. And so often women are like, oh, I'm overwhelmed by all the things. And exactly what you said, they try to implement all of it in one day. And then you realize, I can't do that. That's not realistic. It's like having a 12-step skincare
Mhm.
routine. Like, how many of you are going to do that every day? If you do, good for you. Those estheticians out there are probably not going to like what I'm going to say. I don't wash my face. I splash some water on it and I wipe it off. And like, that is
And
my
you have
skincare
beautiful
routine.
skin.
I put a little bit of moisture. Thank you. I put some moisturizer on it. That's actually, I think, body lotion. But that's a whole different thing. I know there, there's a whole thing. I know that's one of the things that for me, I should look into, not because of now, but for long term preventative care. I know the importance of taking care of your skin now for long term
Mm.
prevention. So that's one area that I am going to work on this year. And when I say this year, it's not now because I don't know. I don't want to do it right now. And two, I want to do it after I go and have my yearly facial because I always think that that's a good time to kind of implement something after it's been
Mm.
cleansed. But we want to think about the basics. And I would love to hear, I'm going to share what I think the basics are, that like the top 3 things people should start with. And then I'd like to hear the top 3 things that you think people should start with, if they're the same or
Okay.
different. So when I talk about the basics, first thing is water. Please drink water. Women, you need 60 to 90 ounces. Men, you need 90 to 120. Please drink water. It's it's literally the easiest thing you can do. The only thing that's going to make it take up more time in your day is you're going to have to go to the bathroom more. but like you get more steps. So there's a
Mhm.
bonus. You get a double whammy there. The second thing I think is the most important and is just general movement from somebody who is a very sedentary individual. Yes, I would love for you to be strength training. I would love for you to want to go out and do cardio. I know that's not fun, that you have no interest in that. I would rather you get some sort of watch or pedometer and see what your
Mhm.
average steps are and take it up by 500 steps each week if you are hitting
Mhm.
that. And slowly just generally become more active in your day. From, okay, I'm going to go walk out and check the mail instead of having my hubby do it, or I'm going to take the trash out, or I'm going to go walk around the yard for a couple of minutes. Like little 2 to 3 minutes of even walking is so much better than the sedentary that we
Mhm.
live. So, water, more general movement, and then sleep. Please go to bed at a consistent time. Please keep your phone outside the bedroom. Please just create an environment that's not stressful. So many of us have crap all over our bedrooms, and no wonder we can't go to bed because we're anxious about all the things aside, like next to
Mhm.
us. So, those are my three basics that I think everybody needs to
I
start
really
with
like that.
and
Mhm.
master.
I really like that. I think that my basics align with yours and also the pillars that I mentioned before. Eating as least processed as possible, I think just will make you feel better overall. Doesn't have to be 100% whole foods, doesn't have to be 100% organic, doesn't have to be all the trendy terms, grass-fed, pasture-raised. But those foods, those ingredients,
Organic, all those
yes, all
things.
those things, wild caught. I'm a believer that that is a higher quality form of food, but if it's not accessible to you or sustainable long term, or whole foods are ingredients themselves instead of buying a bunch of processed foods to eat, you will just feel better. So I would say that's my first basic. Movement, I agree with you. Going on a walk, vacuuming the floor, that's still movement. Cleaning the house, going up and down the stairs at home, you're still getting more movement in, especially if you're working like a desk job, or you commute to work and you're sitting in the car a lot. Moving the body is going to give you endorphins that make you feel better at its core. And then there's so many other benefits too. So, movement, whole foods, maybe like an 80-20, 70-30. And then I like to, in naturopathic medical school, we had this term called vitamin R, which is like rest,
Mm.
rejuvenation, relaxation. And I think sleep does fall under vitamin R to some extent, being able to rest and sleep appropriately. But I think vitamin R in the terms of something that's going to revitalize you, a hobby, or reconnecting with friends and family, something that's going to make you happy, resting, whether that's like reading a book or watching your favorite movie or sitting out on the patio. Those are basics. We need to emphasize rest. We need to emphasize,
Mm.
prioritizing our nervous systems and reducing stress because there's stressors all around us. So I would say the basics are just coming back to your body and listening to it and fueling it appropriately and connecting with your body.
I like that, and I like your R, and the reason that I like that a lot is we have a lot of moms that listen, and if you're in that newborn stage, yes, I do not have a newborn. Yes, I've not gone through that, but I do understand your sleep is not regular, that sleep is not something like you are getting it whenever and wherever you can. So, that being said, if you are in that stage, replace when I said sleep with that R, I think is a more generalization of choosing that thing. And I think the part I like about that too is that it kind of pairs with stress
Hmm.
management a little bit, which healthy ways to reduce stress is always
Hmm.
great. And for me, what helps with that is getting good sleep. There, when I get good sleep, my levels, I'm able to manage my emotions better. I'm able to manage my stress. I'm able to, like you said, wake up in the morning and have this like slow morning. Like I got up this morning at 7, which is like my alarm started going off at 5:30. I totally snoozed forever. But I got up and I didn't have to teach class until 9. So there was just a lot of like slow
Mm-hmm.
moving. And I love having mornings
Mm-hmm.
like that where I'm not running out the door, spilling my coffee
Mm-hmm.
everywhere because I just drink out of a mug now instead of a travel cup. I've jumped on that wagon of chaos in life,
I
apparently.
love it. I love it. I love, and I know we're like very blessed to be able to have slow mornings because we don't have children yet. We don't have a job we have to clock into by 8 a.m. I think about that too. I'm like, I'm very blessed to have this
Mhm.
flexibility. And, but even one goal for me, if when I become a parent or career changes in the future, I still would love to have a slow morning, to allow myself to have a slow morning, set up my mornings in a way that allow that so that I can ease into my day because I know that that makes a huge impact on how I handle my stress going into the day. Huge.
Yeah. And it even like it trickles. Like if you've ever been around somebody who doesn't do that, all of their stress gets projected on
Mhm.
you. So imagine like if you are listening and you have kiddos and you realize you're running and you're stressed in the morning, they feel it as well. And then when you're running late and like it is a trickle effect that happens. And a lot of times we do it without knowing. And then it's just the reminder of like, we don't have to rush. Yes, it's important to be at things on time. I am a chronic, like if you're not 5 to 10 minutes early to anywhere, you're
Me too.
late. That is how I was
Yeah.
raised. So that is how I run. Mike is not always the same way depending on the situation. So like there's times he's like, "Is this the actual time we need to leave or is this the time you told me we need to leave?" I said, "I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see."
It's up in the air.
Right. Which like and I've got some girlfriends that are the same way, but we all have different things happening in our life. And like you said, I am so grateful that I have the opportunity and I have the
Mhm.
lifestyle where I can put my cushions out on my patio and I can sit out there. If any of you guys follow me on social media, you've seen I have been on my patio like every single day. And that I have the opportunity to do that. And I know not everybody gets to. But I have a client that, oh my gosh, I love her. She's wonderful. We were checking in. I've been writing her strength workouts. She's doing her strength workouts. And I just said, how's everything else going? And she said, I've actually been getting to work early and walking the park before I go into the
My God.
office. Because for
Love that.
her, as soon as she's in the office, she doesn't feel like she can get up at all. Like she doesn't feel like she can get up to
Mm.
pee. She doesn't feel like she can get up to fill her water.
Mm.
So she's been walking in the park to get her steps, and her step goal is
Mhm.
4,000. So it's not anything crazy. But if you're in a job where you feel like you have to be at that desk every single minute that you were in the office, you have to make a shift to try to make it work. So she's been walking at the park before work, and I
Wow,
love
good for
that.
her. That is she's prioritizing her health despite like how she's feeling at work, which it does sound like it's stressful. If you feel like you can't get up and go fill up your water and go to the bathroom, that's probably stressful for her. So hopefully even getting that movement in before work feels a little bit like a stress reliever before heading into something like that too.
Yeah. And then I've got, so you probably have clients like this where they're the opposite. They're literally on their
Mm.
feet every single
Mm-hmm.
second of every single day. And then for those clients, I'm always like, okay, when can you have some time to sit down? Like there is such thing as like too much movement and not enough
Yeah.
fueling. And typically those people are not eating as whole foods as their body would like them to. And they may not be getting good sleep because their brain is continuing to run even though their body has
Mm-hmm.
stopped. Like, so how do you typically, because I have a few clients that are like that. They're like, okay, what do I do? I'm like, "Oh, well, I need you to take a breath and sit down for a second. That would be
Yeah.
wonderful. That would be step number one. But like, how do you coach
That's
that?
so funny. I just had this last week. Or maybe it was early this week. But yeah, a woman that I've been seeing for a while now, I really want to gain weight. She is pretty small and slim, but she's very active. And she's, in between the last time I saw you, like I've lost a few pounds and I really don't want to be losing. I want to be gaining. And this is another perfect example of why everyone is different because we hear a lot of weight loss, but there are people out there that want to gain weight, want to gain muscle too. So I said, are you going to be willing to sit down? and rest and read a book or read a magazine or watch a show. You have to rest a little bit more. She's on her feet until 10:30 at night, cleaning, getting things done, running around. And she's also not eating enough to sustain that. And so we talked about how to pack more calories into little snacks or meals and how to eat more frequently throughout the day, increasing calories in a way of like maybe using a little extra oil if you're cooking something, or adding a little extra oil to a salad dressing or butter, or ways that you can make your meals a little bit more calorie dense without making them much, much bigger to where you're not eating it all anyway. And then we talked about strength training and how important that is for maintaining muscle mass, maintaining body density, bone density. So I think that those are ways that I would say I'm familiar with utilizing, but I would love to hear yours too.
No, I love that. And I love that you have a client that wants to gain weight and wants to gain muscle. And you're right. Right now, the stupid freaking trends that are coming around are just like stress me out. So, for that, a thing that came to mind when you were mentioning food was nuts.
Mhm.
Nuts are a really good small portion, high caloric
Mhm.
food that are healthy fats. So, like when you were saying that, I was like, oh, nuts are a
Yeah.
great thing for her to add. You also can get them in those really small
Mhm.
bags. For me, I tell them to, because a lot of times it depends on what they're doing. One, it's looking at the quantity of food they're eating and making sure they're eating enough. Also, not just making sure they're eating enough calorie dense, but also making sure they're eating enough fruits and veggies. Because a lot of times they're eating, like, if we look at calories and we don't look at macros, if we just look at the calorie number, their calorie number looks good. But then when we dive deep, I want, okay, hey, you're not eating very many fruits
Mhm.
and vegetables. Can we swap some of these to also, because you're going to give your body more energy when we give ourselves better quality
Mhm.
food. But then the other is if they won't like rest, I like to do, can we move into stretching and
Mhm.
mobility? Can we find a way to lightly move the body through a way that's also going to bring benefit and something that they
Mhm.
absolutely need? Because if you've ever met a woman who is on their feet constantly, I can guarantee, I've never met a woman who doesn't fall in this category, who I can guarantee believes that stretching should be done a million miles an hour because we have more important things to
Yes,
do
actually,
than sit here and stretch.
the patient that I'm talking about, she has
Yes,
stories about how she has attended yoga classes, and she's, I don't like the breathing at the end. I have to get out of there. I have better things to do. And I'm like, that's the important part. Relaxing,
that's the important
coming
part.
back into your body. Yes.
Right. And I'm always like, can we sit there and can we hold a stretch for 20 to 30 seconds? Even when I program strength and I literally write how much rest time you are supposed to have from one exercise to the next. I always, those of you who have my programs right now, zone out for a second. I always over program rest time because all of you cut it short anyways.
They're going to be cutting it even
Like
more short
there
now.
is, yes, ladies, like rest is important while we are lifting, while we are stretching, while we are just in everyday life. Like, yes, I love that you have a sit to stand desk. That does not mean you have to stand the entire day. That doesn't mean you have to be moving. I finally, after 6 years of business, decided to get myself a real chair. Yes, don't get me wrong, I've been sitting, but I actually got something comfortable. Are there days where I notice my steps are not nearly as high and I have to be a little bit more intentional towards the end of the day? Yeah, but it's summer. I'm okay to be a little bit more intentional when the weather is nice versus when it is 20 degrees out, and I'd prefer not to live in Michigan.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. I love that. I love that you got yourself a chair.
I know, it's so fun. It's one of those crisscross chairs
Oh,
or where you can sit crisscross
yeah.
applesauce in it.
Cool.
It's really comfy. I like it. It's probably not great for my lumbar cuz it's not all those things, but it's okay. I sit up straight and I move from sit stand
You
throughout the
can't be
day.
perfect anyway, so yeah.
No.
I love the nuts. The such a good
Yeah.
not to bring it back to that, but such a
Yeah.
good, and like you said, calorie dense, but also it's a whole food. And I think one thing to emphasize with nuts is like, this is crazy, but a lot of time nuts are processed and packaged with like inflammatory oils and sugars added. So I always tell people to read the ingredients when they're buying nuts and make sure that it's just like a raw nut. Otherwise, you're eating like something that's supposed to be a whole food and healthy for you, and it's just covered in inflammatory oils and sugar.
I did not
Hmm.
know. I guess partly because in my mind, nuts are a whole food. When I buy the package, I assume that they are what they are. And that's just a really good reminder that look at the freaking ingredients list. It's okay if the other caveat here though is I believe it's okay to buy foods that you cannot say all like it's okay if you can't say something that's in the ingredients list. That's okay. But you should at least know most of the ingredients
Hmm.
is kind of where
Hmm.
I think because especially when we're in the start of our nutrition. Like if I tell you you can't eat anything that you can't pronounce, you're going to eat strawberries.
Yeah.
And that's like you're going to eat like but that doesn't work all the time when we're on the go.
Hmm.
Like this past week, I've ate more meals. I am a virtual business. I don't know why I'm in the car so much. I haven't figured it out. But I have ate more meals in the car than I have at home.
Oh.
Like the amount of times like I hope I don't get pulled. If I get pulled over ever, it won't be for texting and driving. It will be for eating and driving. And I don't know if I can actually get a ticket for that, but that's what I will get written up for because I am going from one place to another. Breakfast, snack. Like I had cottage cheese and peppers as I'm driving down the road yesterday because I needed to eat before I got to the next place and I only had X amount of time. And I know what happens when I don't
Hmm.
eat. And I think so many women say, "Oh, I'll just save it. I'll eat it later." Then we end up cranky, moody, irritable, all of
Or
those
binging.
things. Or we grab a protein
Hmm.
bar or
Yeah.
binging. And there's so many
Yeah.
pieces. So fueling yourself is important, but also be careful when you're on the road.
Yes. Cottage cheese, anything that's a dip is brave in the car. So I'll give you that.
Oh, don't worry. I ate it with a spoon.
Okay.
I was eating the pepper and then I'd spoon the cottage cheese because I was
God.
like, I was also wearing I was not wearing white where the cottage cheese would have just blended in if it would have dropped.
Uh-huh.
The black coffee will spill on anything because I drive with an open cup. Yeah, that's the only distraction I ever have is eating or drinking in the
I
car.
love that.
Like coffee, snacks, like everything else, I just
Yeah.
zone out, do my thing, drive, no texting, but like eating, that's the distraction, which I would rather have you eat than
Hmm.
not eat, like all day long. I would rather have you eat.
Agreed. I have a maybe a relevant example on reading ingredients. Last night, I
Ooh.
really wanted ice cream. My period started yesterday. I was like, you know what? I want some ice cream. I went down to the store and we have a little Dollar General right around the corner here. And I was reading all the labels of the ice cream, which at Dollar General, you're probably not going to get the best, highest quality ice cream. And I knew that going in. So I'm like reading just to see if I could find one that was better than the others. And I was impressed. Haagen-Dazs has a little pint of
Ooh.
strawberry ice cream. The ingredients are all whole and real. It's like whole cream, strawberries, sugar, and egg yolks. And I was like, perfect. I'm taking this one. And
Nice.
comparatively, there's others that have preservatives, colors, other unnecessary, maybe unnecessary ingredients. But I was like, you know what? I'm getting my ice cream and it's got whole foods in it and I couldn't be happier. So I went and ate it. But like I think that's what's so important about the 80/20 life is you can eat the ice cream. You can eat the ice cream even if it has like
Hmm.
not perfect whole food ingredients. But the majority of the time, we want to be eating peppers and cottage cheese or more whole foods, healthier foods for you so that you do feel better, so that your stress is more manageable, so that your sleep is better. All these other things play into the type of food we're eating and how it's going to impact our day. And I ended my day with ice cream, but at least it was the best quality I could find.
I like that. And it's funny, we don't buy ice cream very often. I like
Mm,
Culver's. I do like the mini concrete mixer with peanut butter and Heath bar, and it is just like my favorite.
yum.
But like every once in a while we'll end up with ice cream in the fridge and I've never thought about looking at the ingredients because in my mind it is a treat. But when you say unnecessary dyes, I love mint chocolate chip. I have a feeling mint chocolate chip is artificially dyed. I can't imagine that green color is coming from real
Probably
mint.
not.
But yet, never thought about that. Also, rainbow ice cream, there's dyes in there, as well as the blue
Oh
moon.
yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, all of those really bright colors, which higher sugar for there's a whole different rabbit hole we could go
Hmm.
down with that. But I love that you like win and you found the best option, and that's good to know.
Yeah.
Haagen-Dazs. I actually don't think I've ever bought their ice cream.
Particularly the strawberry
I'm
it
not
checked out. It was pretty good. Hmm.
okay.
Oh, and
Nice.
even the cashier, as I was like buying it, he was like, "I really like this one. It actually tastes like real strawberry." And I was like, "Cool." Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
And I think the other like so ice cream, the other part that I'm before we kind of wrap up, but like my brain's spiraling is I think like coffees.
Mm.
I mentioned my latte earlier. And part of the reason I go with brown sugar cinnamon is because it is a whole ingredient. And I know our friend that owns Peculiar Coffee, they make all their own syrups, but not all cafes, coffee shops make their own syrups. And I'm not saying it's bad, but like you also taste a difference when something has been homemade or is from a more whole ingredient. It tastes better in my
Hmm.
opinion. A lot of times though, you won't realize if you are not used to it, it won't taste good from the
Hmm.
beginning. Like nobody's like, "Oh, I've never ate a vegetable. Wow, this thing is the most amazing thing in the world. I wish I would have been eating them sooner." Like
Hmm.
no, it takes a little bit of like adding it in, doing something that's not every meal has to be picture perfect
Hmm.
delicious. Like sometimes it's just about getting food in your
Yep.
mouth so that you can give your body the energy it needs. Like I have some combos that people would be like, "Really? You put that together?" I'm like, "Yes, I put that together." It had the protein, it had the carbs, it had the
Uh-huh.
veggies. That's what it turned out to
Yep.
be.
I know. I know you do a lot of bowl meals, and we do too here. I love a bowl meal. Yeah.
My favorite cuisine,
Yeah.
bowl. Anything in a bowl.
I love that. I do. I love that.
Oh my goodness. I had so much fun and we could keep going, but I want to kind of wrap up with a couple different questions. For women who are listening that feel stuck, overwhelmed, what would you want her to hear from today's episode?
Mm. I think we touched on a couple good things. That one, you don't have to do it all to be healthy. Do what you can, do what's manageable. Prioritize yourself. We talked about advocate for yourself, ask for what you want, ask for help. You don't have, I just keep coming back to it's not an all or nothing mentality. I also really the vitamin R. I think that resonates so deeply with me that if you're somebody who feels like there's not enough time in the day to get everything done and take care of yourself and prioritize yourself, even 5 to 10 minutes of something restful for your body, your nervous system, your mental health, that goes a long way. And then things start to snowball after that. When you start prioritizing yourself and putting yourself first and doing things for yourself, that snowballs into more motivation to do more of that, but also more motivation to be present for your family and show up for your friends and do better at work. And I think that showing ourselves love in little ways is the best form of vitamin R. And then I think all women should prioritize that.
I love that. And yeah, I'm going to piggyback on it. All or nothing. Like we've said it, I think I say it on just about every single episode of like, you can't do it all and you won't be able to do it all the time. And when we say 80-20, it's not 80-20 every day necessarily. It's 80-20 in your week. So knowing that, because I have some people who are like, well, I'm good in the first couple meals and then dinner always goes to crap. That's my 20%. That's a good place to start. But as you refine this, it's 20% in your week. I want you to think about and going into those basics like vitamin R, sleep, water, whole foods, movement, all of those are free. Like, if you are not at a point where you're doing those basics, do not go buy a supplement Do not go spend the money on it, because if you're not consistently doing those, how are you going to consistently take a
Mm-hmm.
supplement? They're also meant to be paired
To
together.
supplement.
So if you are somebody, yes. And if you're somebody who's like, I need to take creatine, if you are not lifting weights or you're not exercising, yes, there's benefits for the mind from creatine, but like people are taking it for muscle
Mhm.
growth. But if you're not actually growing the muscle, you're you're not getting the
Yeah.
benefits. So there's things that have to be paired together. So I would say those would be my takeaways from
Mhm.
today. I had a
Me
lot of
too.
fun.
I love talking with you. It just flows. It could be hours.
Oh, it could be. I know. And as I know we're hitting the hour, a little over the hour mark right now, I'm like, we could totally keep going. But I know as a podcast listener myself, the hour mark is usually like the
Yeah.
max, because I'm not very seldomly am I even in a car for more than an hour at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, when do people listen? And
Yeah.
that's why we typically keep these episodes smaller. But don't worry, we'll do another one. You'll be my three-peater.
Wow. There were questions
Um,
on there that I was like, oh, I hope we get to, but we didn't. So even if we don't three-peat, we'll have to get
well,
coffee again.
was there one specifically that you want to touch on to end on before we sign off?
You had, what do you think women actually need more of right now? But this
Mm,
is, Morgan,
okay.
this is getting deep it again.
That's
But I can sum it up in a few words.
that's
I can
okay.
sum it up in a few words. And you,
No, you do you. If people want to zone out and come back, zone out and come back. It's the great part about a podcast. We can pause and come
oh
back
my
whenever.
gosh,
Because I think that's a really great
you
one.
were,
I think, okay, yes, let's do that one. And then I want to do, what do you think women are
ooh,
overcomplicating?
okay. I can keep mine pretty quick because I was thinking about this. I was like, I can answer this in 5 words. What do you think women actually need more of right now? Support, recognition, acknowledgement, adoration, initiative. Especially when you said you have a lot of mother listeners. I think acknowledgement of women carry a lot. I know men do too, but we're here talking about women. So we work, we take care of ourselves, we take care of our families. We are the planners, we are the cookers, the cleaners. So I think seeing the women in your life, acknowledging them, appreciating them openly, telling them those things, showing them that that's what women need more of in order to feel more motivated to take care of ourselves. And then, like we talked about, that snowballs into taking better care of everything around us. So that's what I was going to say on that topic to keep it quick.
I love that. And I think a lot of times, yes, we should not be expecting external validation to make us feel good. But I think so often it's so hard for us to internally validate
Hmm.
ourselves, that having external validation or reassurance that, like, hey, you are a good mom.
Hmm.
Hey, you are doing, like, I see you. Even something as small as that is just a nice, like, whether, like, sometimes we get it from our partner, sometimes we get it from a parent, sometimes we get it from a friend. And it doesn't have to be this long, wordy text or anything. It can literally be as, like, as simple as, hey, I see you. You're
Hmm.
doing a great job.
Hmm.
Like, or when you're around somebody who has kids, something that people have shared with me is, I'll be like, wow, your kids are so polite. Like, hearing those
Hmm.
things, it validates how they've been showing up and how they've been
Yeah.
teaching their kids. And they're like, thank you.
Mm.
Like, parents enjoy
Hmm.
hearing that. And it's like, I'm not doing it and they're not being polite. And like, I have some friends who have some freaking polite children who have like these most amazing kids. And I'm like, look at
Hmm.
you. You guys are badass
That's
parents.
awesome.
Like, that's amazing. And I know that's not
Hmm.
easy.
Hmm. That's
Like,
work.
so yeah, it's work all the
Yeah.
time, every hour of every day. I do a few nanny overnights for my kids, and they're 9 and 12. So they're older, they're not little. But I'm going to tell you what, parents don't ever get a full night's sleep, is what I've learned. There is no such thing as deep sleep when you have children
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
house. Like, anytime I am there, there is no level of like deep sleep that I get when I'm here with just
Hmm.
Mike and I. Like, when I'm there, there's a level of an alertness. And I've talked to a few of my girlfriends. I've talked to my friend who's also the mom of the kids, and she's like, yep, that's
Yeah.
parenthood. I'm like, Okay, that should be something that we talk about in
Yeah.
books. Like, can we just throw that out there? Like, can we normalize that it's okay that that is a feeling that we
Yeah.
have? Because I'm like, my gosh, do you ever get into deep? Yeah, for a couple minutes, and then you hear a
Mm.
sound, and all.
Mhm.
Gosh. So
Yeah.
validating that, even just in
Yeah.
compliments, something small. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Cool. I like that too.
I'm gonna ditto on that one with you. Okay. The next one and the last one we'll do before we sign off is what do you think women are overcomplicating? And I am going to say fucking everything.
Yes.
Everything we overcomplicate. Everything from scheduling an appointment and all the
Mm.
things to what we should be eating, how we should be moving our body, the right way to do all of it. There is no right
Mhm.
way. There are right basics and there's right foundations that we need to fall into, like exercise as a foundation, nutrition as a foundation, but stop overcomplicating
Mhm.
it. Like we overcomplicate everything,
Mhm. Everything.
literally everything. And I know I do it.
Yeah. Overthinking. I'm somebody who's, okay, if I do this, then I have to start at this time, but then I have to have time for this. So I'm like working backwards in my brain. Okay, but that means I have to leave the house at this time. I have
Yes.
to do this at this time. I have to take a shower at this time. And it's like that you may not realize, but that is all feeding into your nervous system being heightened, your stress, your cortisol release. And sometimes it's necessary, like, especially for parents with kids who have multiple schedules and are balancing a lot, like, that's
Mhm.
necessary. You have to have that mentality. But it also is good to step back and be like, I'm going to be okay. I can breathe. I don't have to rush through everything. I don't have to do my dishes really fast. I don't have to like skip my morning routine because something else came up. It's important to be able to step back and give yourself that time to pull away.
Yeah. And when it comes to like exercise, like we overcomplicate it on doing, well, what's the best routine I should have? That's a question I get all the time. And my first question is, well, what time do you have available? That's the first question is what time do we physically have available in our
Mhm.
schedule? And if they're like, well, I have one 30-minute block a week, I'm like, okay, that's where we start. Can we get a strength training in that 30-minute block? That's what I would like for us to put there. And then you just become more active throughout your day. If they have more blocks, then we can actually create a
Mhm.
schedule. But so often we're worried about creating this ideal schedule that doesn't actually work with our
Right.
lifestyle. And we overcomplicate it by trying to fit all these things in. Same with nutrition. We're overcomplicating breakfast. You need protein. That if you remember anything, you need protein.
Yep.
Then we need some fiber. And then from there we'll fill in the
Mhm.
rest. Like if we can figure out how to get those two in, basics, then we'll fill in all the
Yep.
holes.
Yep. I this is a good conversation. Yesterday I had a follow up with a patient that we did a bunch of extensive testing and I made a couple really in-depth treatment plans for her and we were following up on that and she came back to me and she's I'm a little overwhelmed. Let's go back to the basics. So we actually just sat down and we talked about what can you start eating more of? She picked a vegetable, she picked a meat, she picked a fat. What can you do in your lifestyle to reduce your stress? We picked something in the morning and something in the evening. And sometimes it's just like you said, finding where it can fit into your lifestyle, what you have time for, and what you're able to mentally manage.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that she felt comfortable enough coming to you and say I feel a little
Mhm,
overwhelmed because in the moment at one point, we have all felt this way. Oh yeah, I can
mhm,
handle that. And they take it on and then we circle back and we're like, "Yep, that was too
mhm,
much." But we have to be honest with ourselves and we have to be able to speak up. So that circles back to where we started today's
mhm.
conversation of advocating for yourself and deciding are you going to walk into the interview or are you just going to drive
Yeah,
away? What are you going to do? How are you going to show
yeah.
up?
Oh, look at you tying it all in.
Full circle.
That's awesome. That was good. Little rapid fire at the end.
That was awesome. So I want you to share how people can find you, same as last time. Let people know how they can find you. We'll put all your links in the show notes. Any events or things that we are in mid July right now. So, any events or things that you have coming up that people should check out your website or send you a message for, things like that.
Okay. Unfortunately, no upcoming events, but I'm always interested in learning about community things I can attend. On Instagram, I have my personal is MakaylaAndersen.nd. That's Anderson with an E, N. And then the business Instagram is Embody Naturopathic. I have Embodied Natural Health and Nutrition on Facebook. I believe there's a Threads account. There's a LinkedIn, but Instagram, Facebook are where I'm most active. And then the website is embodynaturalhealth.com.
And so, for those of you who are still with us, so a few updates. Remember, I have partnered with Brumfield Angus Farms to sell locally sourced beef here in Lansing. So, if you're interested, you don't have to buy a whole cow. You can buy like one steak, 1 pound of ground beef. Right now, they've got these amazing cheddar jalapeno beef, all beef brats, and they are not spicy, but those are really good. So knowing that it's summertime, you're probably out grilling more. If you have anything beef related, my number is in the show notes. Just shoot me a text or send me a message on Facebook. And we talked about a lot today. So if at any point you're like, yeah, I probably want a little bit extra support, shoot me a message. We can talk and see what makes the most sense. And if you really liked today's episode, I would love for you guys to, one, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or following on whatever podcast platform you're listening, as well as leave us a review. Give us 5 stars, write a review, and let us know, because I like to see what people have to say. And if you've got a topic idea you want Mikayla and I to come back and rapid fire through, I would love to have her back again. So it's so fun to just ebb and flow with somebody locally and that has the similar mindset around all of it, but also some differences, because it's like my way is not the only way, and it's not going to be the only way for you. So having multiple different perspectives on things, I think, is always important. So thank you so much, Mikayla, again for joining me today. So happy you were able to make it, and we will hopefully see you again in the upcoming
Awesome.
months.
Thanks, Morgan. I love chatting with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Bye, you guys. Until next Thursday. Thank you for tuning in to the EmpowerHer Wellness Podcast. I hope you found today's episode inspiring and packed with actionable tips. Remember, your journey to becoming the strongest, most confident version of yourself is just beginning. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode and join our community of empowered women. Until next time, stay strong and stay confident.